It's time for some updated playoff predictions as we head into week 5. I didn't do a playoff prediction video last week just because I didn't really make any changes, but I do have some changes this week, and I feel like I'll probably have changes throughout the season, especially as we get to some of these bigger games like Georgia, Alabama. That could change how I see things shaking out. Like if Georgia loses that game, I don't think Georgia makes the SEC championship. I still think they'll be in the playoff, but I don't think they'll make the SEC championship, which means they cannot get a top 4 seed. You know, things like that could definitely change my opinions of how it's going to shake out. And I guess the big change this week from a couple of weeks ago is USC. I don't have USC in the playoff any longer. I think that they're probably going to lose a couple more games. I had them at 10, 2 weeks ago I had them 10-2, but beating Michigan. Now that they've lost that game, again, I think they lose. You know, they've got some tough games still on their schedule. So that's the change as far as the team going out, and then we'll go through and show you who we have to take their place. All right, so we'll start with the conference champions. I've got Ohio State, Georgia, Miami, and Utah. I'm kind of thinking Ohio State might run the table and go undefeated, and I think Georgia probably loses to either Texas or Ole Miss. So I think that Ohio State might get the 1 seed, at least as of right now. That's a really tough one for me. Maybe Ohio State loses a game as well. I think Georgia would have the better resume, so Georgia would be 1. So, I could see that going either way. It's really going to come down to, in my opinion, Ohio State and if they can go undefeated or not. I still have Miami winning the ACC. I got them as the 3 seed, and I got Utah winning the Big 12. So no changes here except I switched to Ohio State and Georgia. And I'm not going to change my Group of 5 champion as of right now. I'm going to go with Boise State. UNLV looks pretty good out of the Mountain West. Perhaps Memphis or someone could come out of the American. We'll see how that goes. But those are my 5 conference champions that will get automatically into the college football playoff. Now we go to the at-large teams, and we're going to go with number 5. That's Texas. I think Texas will be the highest-ranked non-champion team. I really like the Longhorns. I think they might actually go undefeated in the regular season, then lose to Georgia in a rematch in the SEC championship. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it play out right now. I'm trying not to go too much into individual games, but you have to do that a little bit to see how, again, this is gonna unfold. So Texas at number 5, and then I think Ole Miss at number 6. I think Ole Miss, they could also be at 11-1. We could have several 11-1 teams. And I've got the Rebels missing out on the SEC championship because of their head-to-head loss to Georgia. So Ole Miss at number 6, and then we're going to go to number 7 now. That's going to be Oregon. I'm coming back around on the Ducks. They look good in their last game. Ready to see them play some good teams. We have not seen that yet. I know they haven't looked great against some teams that were not so great, but I want to see them play. How do they play when they need to get up for a big game? And that's what I'm waiting to see from Oregon. The schedule is not that bad. I think they can get to potentially 11-1, get to the Big Ten championship. So I've got Oregon there at number 7. Then we go to number 8. That's going to be Clemson. And I've not changed my opinion. A lot of people were ready to give up on Clemson after the Georgia game, but I picked them to lose that game and then run the table all the way to the ACC championship. I'll go 11-1, then lose to Miami in the ACC championship. That was my preseason prediction. That is still my prediction. So I've got Clemson in there at number 8. And again, I've talked about this before. It's going to be interesting to see what the committee does with these teams that lose their conference championship game. Do they just kind of keep them where they were? Do they drop them? If they play really close, do they possibly move them up? I don't know what the committee is going to do. This is the first year we're really going to have this situation with this 12-team playoff. So looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. But I've got Clemson at number 8, and then we go to Tennessee at number 9. So I think this spot's going to come down to the winner of Tennessee and Alabama. Right now I'm leaning towards Tennessee, but I could see possibly flipping that around to Alabama. But I'm going to go with Alabama at number 10. So again, whoever wins that game potentially goes to 9. Although, if Tennessee loses 2 other games, then they're not going to be in the playoff. But I think both those teams finish 10-2. However it happens. And again, right now I'm just going to say Tennessee beats Alabama. But that one's definitely a tough one. Want to see how Alabama plays against Georgia just to find out how good this team really is. But Crimson Tide at 10, Tennessee at 9, and then number 11 is Penn State. So Penn State right there at 10-2 out of the Big Ten. So that means We get some great matchups here. Clemson, Tennessee, Texas, Boise State, Oregon, Alabama, Ole Miss, Penn State. Can't wait to see what happens in this 12-team playoff. But we'll start with Clemson, Tennessee. Right now, I'd probably take Tennessee in that game, even on the road. I think that the improved defense for the Vols would be the difference maker here. And actually, first, I need to switch these around. So we're going to put the Cotton Bowl here on the left, Orange Bowl on the right. I think that's how they would do it with Ohio State and Georgia. But anyways, yeah, I'm going Tennessee here in this game. I think they beat Clemson. Close game. Could see Clemson winning it. I want to see if this Clemson offense is for real. Can they keep this up, what they've done the last couple of games? If they can, I probably would go with Clemson to win this game. So that's a tough one. We got Texas, Boise State. Not much to talk about here. I think Texas rolls. I think they win big over Boise State. And then you've got Oregon, Alabama. 7-10 matchup here. And how interesting would it be to see Kalen DeBoer go up against Oregon again? He owned them at Washington. This time with Alabama going on the road to face Oregon. Can the Crimson Tide pull it off? I'm going to say yeah. I mean, again, Caleb DeBoer knows how to beat Oregon. We have learned that, and I think he does it again. So Alabama advances to play, guess who? Georgia in Atlanta. How many times have we seen that matchup? Ole Miss, Penn State up next. I think Ole Miss just the better team. I really want to see Ole Miss play against a good quality opponent. And they got Kentucky this week. That'll tell us a little bit, but not everything that I would like to see. So, yeah, I still think Ole Miss is better. I think they beat Penn State, and they get to the next round against Miami. So you got Ohio State, Tennessee in the Rose Bowl. That'd just be an interesting matchup there. So you got two really good teams here. Now, Tennessee might have the advantage on offense if Nico continues to come along. I think Ohio State has the advantage on defense. This one I think would be close, but I'm going with the Buckeyes. I think they're the better overall team here in this one. Texas, Utah. Texas just too much. I think they'll roll over Utah in the Fiesta Bowl. So that puts Texas into the semifinals. Then Georgia, Alabama. I've got Georgia winning in the regular season. I do not have these teams playing in the SEC Championship. Again, I think that might be Georgia, Texas. If Georgia makes the SEC Championship game, they're going to probably be in a rematch because they play Alabama, they play Texas, they play Ole Miss, and they play Tennessee. They've got a really tough schedule. So regardless of who they play in that conference championship game, it should be a rematch. Anyways, another rematch here against Alabama. I think Georgia's got their number this year. I think they beat them for the second time, and they advance. And then we got Ole Miss, Miami. Boy, this one's tough. Miami has really looked good. But again, I don't know exactly how good Ole Miss is. I think still they're a little bit better, but I don't know. And this is one that could go either way. I'm going to say Ole Miss, and again, that gives Georgia another rematch. If they were to play that game and then play Texas potentially, well, that would be playing Texas for the third time. So, yeah, Georgia's going to see some rematches more than likely this year. Ohio State, Texas next. Boy, this one's tough. Texas has looked like the best team in the country so far, but I just still like the potential of Ohio State. I think they're going to look like the best team when all is said and done. So I'm going Buckeyes there. Georgia beats Ole Miss in a rematch. Kirby Smart, he knows how to win the big games, and so I'm going to go with Georgia here. But again, I'm going back to my prediction since the preseason. Ohio State wins the national championship. No reason to change that as of yet. Have they looked like the best team? No, I just said I think Texas will look like the best team, but I think they're going to, this is a prediction. We're not analyzing what has happened. We're predicting what is going to happen. And again, I don't really want to change my pick at this moment, so I'm going Ohio State. I've stuck with them since the preseason. Did the same thing with Michigan last year. Preseason pick, stuck with them all year, and they did wind up winning the national championship. So right now, Ohio State's my pick. How do you see it playing out in the college football playoff? Who do you think gets in? What do you like about my predictions? What do you not like? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below.